In 301 AD, a Roman emperor signed a document he believed would save his empire. Instead, it triggered an economic catastrophe that would echo through history for the next 17 centuries. Venezuela made the same mistake in 2011. So did Zimbabwe in 2007. And right now, in multiple countries across the globe, politicians are reaching for the exact same tool that destroyed Rome. The worst part? Most of them have no idea they're repeating ancient history. Let me take you back to the year 284 AD. The Roman Empire is dying, not slowly, not gracefully, violently. In just 50 years, Rome has cycled through over 50 emperors, most of them murdered. The borders are collapsing. Germanic tribes are pouring in from the north. The Persians are hammering the east. And inside the empire itself, total chaos. But the real crisis isn't military, it's economic. Here's what's happening. The empire is bleeding money. Wars are expensive. Maintaining legions across 3 continents, even more expensive. And Rome's solution is elegantly simple and completely catastrophic. They start debasing the currency. Now, if you're thinking this sounds boring, stay with me. Because what Rome does next is the origin story of every hyperinflation crisis you've ever heard about. In 64 AD, a Roman silver coin called a denarius was about 95% pure silver. By 250 AD, less than 5% silver. The rest was cheap bronze with a silver wash that rubbed off in your hands. Imagine you're a Roman baker. Last year, a loaf of bread cost 1 denarius. This year, it costs 5. Next year, 20. Your costs haven't changed. The grain costs the same. Your labor costs the same. But somehow, the money itself is dying. Prices are exploding. People are panicking. The economy is spiraling out of control. And into this chaos steps a man who believes he has the answer. His name is Diocletian. He's a soldier who clawed his way to emperor through pure ruthlessness. And he's convinced that Rome's problems can be solved with one thing: control. Diocletian looks at the Roman economy and sees disorder. Merchants charging different prices in different cities. Speculators hoarding goods. People losing faith in Roman currency. It offends his military sensibility. Everything should be ordered, regulated, fixed. So in 301 AD, he issues the Edict on maximum prices. This document is extraordinary. It's over 1,000 lines long. It sets maximum prices for over 1,000 different goods and services across the entire empire. How much can you charge for a pound of pork? Fixed. The cost of a haircut? Fixed. Wages for a farm laborer? Fixed. A lawyer's fee? Fixed. Shipping rates? Fixed. The price of silk from China? Fixed. Everything. Every single thing. The emperor has personally decided the maximum price that can be charged for basically the entire economy. And here's the kicker. If you violate these price controls, the penalty is death. Not a fine, not imprisonment, death. Diocletian isn't messing around. He genuinely believes that greedy merchants are causing inflation, that speculators and hoarders are destroying the currency. So he's going to force prices back down through sheer imperial will. So what happens? At first, nothing changes, because Rome is massive, slow, and bureaucratic. News travels at the speed of horses. Enforcement is patchy. Some regions ignore it entirely. But wherever the edict is actually enforced, disaster. Here's the problem Diocletian didn't understand. Prices aren't just random numbers that merchants make up out of greed. They're information. They're signals. If grain is scarce in Rome but abundant in Egypt, prices rise in Rome and fall in Egypt. That price difference tells merchants, hey, transport grain from Egypt to Rome. The profit motive solves the shortage. But now, the price is fixed. So Roman merchants do the math. The maximum price for grain in Rome is below what it costs to ship it from Egypt. They literally lose money on every shipment, so they stop shipping grain. Bakers look at the maximum price for bread. It's below the cost of flour, fuel, and labor. They can't make bread at this price without losing money, so they stop baking. Farmers realize they can't sell their crops at the legal maximum price and still feed their families, so they stop bringing food to market. They eat it themselves or let it rot. The goods vanish, not because there's no food, not because there's no grain, but because the legal price makes trade impossible, and then the black markets explode. Now, here's where it gets really dark. Because Diocletian's edict doesn't just control prices, it also tries to control wages. It fixes the maximum pay for every profession. Teachers, scribes, shipbuilders, mule drivers, everyone has a maximum wage. And most of these wages are set below what people need to survive at the new inflated prices. What would you do if your government told you that you can only earn half of what you need to feed your family? Would you follow the law, or would you find another way? Exactly. People stop working legal jobs. They flee to the countryside. They join the black market. They abandon their trades entirely. The economy doesn't stabilize, it collapses. And here's the really tragic part. Diocletian's edict completely misses the actual problem. The inflation isn't caused by greedy merchants. It's caused by the government itself constantly debasing the currency. You can't fix monetary inflation by controlling prices. You can only drive the real economy underground. Within a few years, the edict is quietly abandoned. Too many people are starving, too many goods have vanished. The black market is bigger than the legal economy. Even Diocletian's own officials can't make it work. Rome doesn't recover. The economic damage from this period is one of the many factors that eventually contributes to the empire's collapse. Now here's where this story gets really unsettling, because this isn't ancient history. This pattern repeats over and over and over. The French Revolution? One of the triggers was price controls on bread that caused mass shortages. The Soviet Union? 70 years of price controls that created a permanent shortage economy where people waited in line for toilet paper. Venezuela in 2016? Price controls on food led to empty shelves, while farmers left crops rotting in fields because they couldn't afford to harvest them at the legal price. Zimbabwe, Argentina, ancient China, medieval Europe. Every single time, the pattern is identical. Step 1, inflation. Step 2, politicians blame merchants. Step 3, price controls. Step 4, shortages. Step 5, black markets. Step 6, economic collapse. It's like watching the same car crash in slow motion across 1,700 years of human history. And the craziest part, we know it doesn't work. We have 17 centuries of evidence. We have the data. We have the historical records. We literally have Diocletian's original edict preserved in stone inscriptions. And yet, in 2023, multiple countries across the world still have some form of price controls in place. Politicians still blame inflation on corporate greed. Commentators still suggest that the solution to rising prices is to simply make it illegal for prices to rise. The ghost of Diocletian is still with us. So what's the actual lesson here? It's not that markets are perfect. They're not. It's not that inflation is harmless. It's not. And it's definitely not that we should never regulate anything. The lesson is simpler and more fundamental. You cannot solve a monetary problem with price controls. You can't fix the debasement of currency by making it illegal to notice that the currency has been debased. And when Rome debased the denarius, the real problem was the debasement. Fixing maximum prices just hid the symptoms while making the disease worse. The same is true today. If modern inflation is caused by monetary policy, by government spending, by currency creation, then price controls are worse than useless. They're actively destructive. Here's what Diocletian should have done. Stop debasing the currency. Accept that prices had risen, and let the economy adjust naturally. It would have been painful in the short term, but it would have worked. Instead, he tried to command reality itself to change, and reality doesn't take commands. The Roman Empire lasted another century and a half after Diocletian, but it never truly recovered. The economic damage, the loss of faith in institutions, the shift from cities to countryside, the breakdown of trade networks, all of this contributed to what we call the fall of Rome. One bad economic policy didn't destroy Rome by itself, but it was part of the cascade. One mistake among many, one failure of understanding among countless failures. So the next time you hear a politician propose price controls to fight inflation, you're not just hearing a policy proposal. You're hearing an echo from 301 AD. You're hearing Diocletian's voice across 17 centuries. And you have a choice that the Romans didn't have. You know how this story ends? The question is, will we learn from it? Or are we doomed to repeat the same economic mistake that has collapsed nations for nearly 2,000 years? History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. If this video made you think, do me a favor, hit the like button. And subscribe to Histanum, because I dive deep into topics like this every day.